She was just a girl in 15D, forehead pressed against the cool oval window, watching the endless blue stretch of ocean far below when the radio crackled in the lead F-22's cockpit miles away. Raptor 1 to tower, we defer command to her. Repeat. The girl in 15 Delta has the plane. Before you watch the full story, comment below. Which country are you watching from? And don't forget to subscribe, because tomorrow's story might be even bigger. Elena Voss looked like any other 23-year-old heading home from a semester abroad, plain gray hoodie, messy bun, cheap earbuds dangling, and a half-empty bottle of warm airport water clutched in her hand. She was doodling absent-mindedly in a worn spiral notebook balanced on her tray table, the kind with coffee stains on the cover from too many late-night study sessions. Around her, the cabin was filled with people who mattered. 2 airline captains deadheading in row 14, a nervous first officer riding jump seat, even a retired air traffic controller chatting loudly across the aisle. Nobody noticed her. The flight attendant leaned over with that practiced smile adults use on kids who still need help opening juice boxes. "Everything okay back here, sweetie? You need another blanket or anything?" These long flights can be tough on the little ones flying solo. Elena gave a small, polite nod, cheeks warm, and went back to her notebook. Inside her head, though, a memory flickered uninvited. Her grandfather's voice in the old hangar years ago, the smell of oil and metal thick in the air. He'd flown classified test missions before she was born. Call sign Echo 9, whispered with respect even by generals. "Kid, the sky doesn't forgive show-offs," he told her quietly one dawn after a grueling simulator run. "But it listens when you know what you're doing. Stay ready. One day the quiet ones lead." That prophetic line had stayed with her, tucked away like the faded photo of him in his flight suit that she kept pressed between the notebook pages. The 777 hummed along at 38,000 feet, Pacific crossing smooth under a sky so clear it hurt to look at. Elena noticed one tiny thing nobody else did, the faint, irregular vibration in the floor beneath her sneakers, like a missed heartbeat in the engines. She sipped her water, trying to ignore it. Then came stage 1. A soft thump from the right wing, barely audible over the cabin chatter. Stage 2 cracked wider when the overhead lights flickered once, twice, and a yellow caution chime sounded. The first officer on the jump seat shifted, frowning. "Probably just a sensor glitch," he muttered to the deadheading captains. Full emergency hit stage 3 when the captain's voice came over the PA, tight but controlled. "Folks, we've got an issue with hydraulic systems on the starboard side. We're declaring an emergency and diverting. Please stay seated. Stay with me here, because what happens next is the part nobody saw coming." Elena's breath caught as the plane began a shallow descent, the ocean tilting slightly outside her window. Would you have broken cover to save strangers, even if it cost you everything? The thought hit her hard, hands tightening around that spiral notebook until the spiral bit into her palm. Panic rippled through the cabin. The skeptic in row 16, a loud businessman in a rumpled suit, started arguing with the flight attendant. "This is ridiculous. Tell the pilots to fix it already." Then the second skeptic joined in, the retired controller shaking his head. "I've seen these birds shrug off worse. No need for dramatics." Even the captain, when he came back to brief the deadheaders, glanced right past Elena like she was part of the seat cushion. She could have stayed hidden. Instead, she stood up on shaky legs, notebook clutched like a shield. "Excuse me," she said, voice small at first. "The vibration pattern matches a partial failure in the number 3 hydraulic pump, not just a sensor. If we don't cross-bleed pressure to the flight controls within the next 8 minutes, we'll lose aileron authority on final." The cabin went dead quiet. The businessman scoffed. The captain stared. "Young lady, this is a professional cockpit. How about you sit down?" She proved it in one small, specific demonstration. Reaching for the interphone with steady fingers, she recited the exact alternate checklist procedure from memory, including the precise torque values for the manual reversion valve and the expected yaw damper response at their current weight. Numbers only an expert would know. The captain's face changed. "How the hell do you—" That's when the F-22 escort appeared on their wing, scrambled because they were now near sensitive airspace. Over the radio came that impossible line again, the pilot's voice steady. "We defer command to her." The anchoring notebook wasn't just doodles anymore. Inside were her grandfather's handwritten notes from decades of test flights, the real reason she'd been studying in secret. Now it felt like a baton passed through time. Elena swallowed hard, body reacting before words could. Her knees trembled, but her voice didn't. She took control in real time, calm technical assessment flowing as the crew patched her through. "Confirming we're at flight level 350. Gross weight approximately 420,000 pounds. Initiate cross-bleed on hydraulic system B. Monitor for EIKA's warning on spoiler lockout. Reduce thrust asymmetrically to counter the roll tendency. Target 2% differential on none." Step by step she guided them. "Flaps to 15. Watch your VREF bug set to 142 knots. We're going to need a long final." A crisis within the crisis hit, when the left generator dropped offline, instruments flickering wildly. For a terrifying 10 seconds, the plane yawed sharply, passengers gasping, a child crying somewhere behind her. Elena's own hands shook on the interphone as she caught it. "Reset the bus tie, now. I've got you. Breathe." Unexpected tenderness came when the lead flight attendant, tears in her eyes, squeezed Elena's shoulder without a word. Human connection cutting through the chaos. Final approach stretched long and slow over the diverted coastal airfield. Gear down, 3 green. Raptor 1, maintain visual separation. We've got this. The prophetic line echoed in her mind as runway lights rushed up. The sky listens when you know what you're doing. Touchdown was hard, imperfect. Tires screaming, reverse thrust roaring, the plane shuddering as they veered slightly before straightening. Metal groaned, but held. They stopped safely. Damaged, but alive. Aftermath hit like a wave. Hands shook uncontrollably in her lap. Someone was crying openly. Silence stretched for 3 heartbeats before cheers erupted. The skeptic businessman approached first, face pale. "I was wrong. I'm sorry." The captain came out, uniform rumpled, and gave her a formal salute right there in the aisle. "Miss Voss, on behalf of the crew and everyone on board, thank you. That was beyond anything I've seen." An official from the airline later issued a statement praising her composure and expertise. In the terminal, her grandfather waited in his wheelchair, old eyes shining with pride. He pulled her into a hug that smelled like engine grease and home. The notebook now passed between them, felt heavier with meaning, the ordinary doodle pad that had carried a legacy. Weeks later, ordinary life resumed, but quietly changed. Elena went back to her university classes, but now with a quiet confidence. One evening in the hangar with her grandfather, he reframed it all. "You didn't just save that plane, kid. You finally stepped into who you always were. Legacy isn't about the loud call sign. It's the quiet ones who show up." What would you have done in her place? If this story moved you, hit subscribe. There's a new one waiting for you tomorrow. A girl in seat 15D, notebook open on her lap, looking out at the endless sky.